Right, is the newspaper headlines on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Of course, it's your site mirror, and we start off with the nation. Stop trading under high tension wires. IBEDC warns the management of Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company has warned its customers to avoid under high tension wires. Its chief operating officer, Mr. John Ayodele, appeals to the firm's customers and the public to stop trading under high tension wires, noting that the danger of doing so outweighs the profits of the business. Customs, NAFDAC commit to fight drug smuggling. The Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) and the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) have restated commitment to the fight against smuggling of drugs and other harmful pharmaceuticals, speaking at the resumed destruction of tramadol and other prohibited fake drugs worth 14.7 billion naira at Okedia dump site in Shagamu, Ogun State. Chairman of a joint committee, Victor Dimka, said the smugglers would continue to suffer huge losses if they continue with such imports. Verification of teachers certificates to begin March 9. Physical verification of the certificates of teachers in public and private schools will begin on Monday, March 9. The Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria (TRCN) has said the exercise will end on Tuesday, March 17, it added. The council said only qualified, registered, and licensed teachers by TRCN will be allowed to practice in the country after the verification. Put aside ends tenure in Nimasa. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Mr. Bashir Jama as the Director General (DG) of the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA). The nation learned on Wednesday the appointment sources at the Federal Ministry of Transportation said was made by the president to mark the expiration of the 4-year tenure of Dr. Kuku Peterside. FEC okays $2.571 billion at Jaokuta Kaduna Kano gas project. The issuance of a sovereign guarantee to the tune of 85% of the engineering, procurement, and construction EPC contract for the Ajaokuta Kaduna Kano gas project has been approved, Finance, Budget and National Planning Minister Mrs. Zainab Ahmed said yesterday. Reps passed 346 billion naira NDDC budget. The House of Representatives on Wednesday passed the 346 billion naira Niger Delta Development Commission NDCC budget for 2019. It was passed by the Committee to Supply, a committee of the whole House for purpose of considering and voting on expenditure. COVID-19, Sultan declares special prayer, fasting to seek God's intervention. Worried by the rate at which coronavirus is spreading across the world, Janatu Nasir Islam JNI, under the leadership of Sultan of Sokoto Alhaji Muhammad Saud Abubakar III, has asked Muslims to engage in special prayer and fasting for God's intervention. Now we'll move to this day. Italian patient recovering from coronavirus says Lagos State government. The Lagos State government has said the Italian patient who tested positive to the coronavirus last week was recovering from the disease. Stating this at a press briefing in Alausa Wednesday, the Commissioner for Health, Lagos State, Professor Akin Abayomi, said apart from him, there was no suspected case currently isolated in the center. Fayose spokesman ducked for alleged stealing, fraud. Mr. Larry Olayinka, a 47-year-old media aide to former governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, was Wednesday arraigned before an Ado-Ekiti Chief Magistrates Court over alleged stealing and fraud. The defendant was standing trial on a 3-count charge of abuse of office, stealing, and fraud. Suspected herdsmen kill 4 persons in Benue. 4 persons were Wednesday killed in Waya Moon district of Kwande local government area of Benue State when marauding herdsmen launched an attack on the area, confirming the report. Public Relations Officer, Benue State Police Command, DSP Suise Anene, said the incident occurred on Tuesday when the herdsmen attacked the local community by the riverbank and shot sporadically, killing 4 people while many others sustained injuries. FCT impounds 33 commercial motorcycles. Federal Capital Territory FCT Ministerial Task Team on Traffic Management has impounded 33 commercial motorcycles 24 hours after it began the clampdown on operators plying the Ayayanya Expressway. The chairman of the tax team, Ikaro Atta, who gave the statistics at the press briefing in Abuja, said 11 vehicles were impounded on Monday evening, with another 22 on Tuesday evening. CBN unveils draft guidelines for MFB. The Central Bank of Nigeria has released an exposure draft guideline for the regulation and supervision of the microfinance banks, MBs. The document was posted on the Central Bank's website Wednesday. Lawan, coronavirus isolation centers not ready in Abuja. The Senate President, Dr. Ahmed Lawan, Wednesday expressed concern that the 2 isolation centers meant for treatment of coronavirus patients in the Federal Capital Territory were not ready. Lawan has also decried the non-release of the 620 million naira earlier approved by the federal government for the emergency response to the COVID-19 outbreak. And we'll move on to the Punch. Coronavirus. WHO tracing 65 Italian school passengers. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, has confirmed the World Health Organization is tracing the passengers who boarded the Turkish airline flight with the Italian man who brought coronavirus to the country. The European who arrived in Lagos from Milan on February 24 is currently undergoing treatment at the Infectious Disease Center, Yaba. Police arrest teacher for brutalizing pupil. The Lagos State Police Command has arrested a teacher, Chuks Igbani, for allegedly brutalizing a pupil in the Igborosho area of Badagry. A clip that went viral on social media reveals Igbani beating the pupil aggressively with a cane and pushing her against some furniture. Ogun security officials man Chinese residences' gates. The Ogun State government has said it has deployed security officials to man the entrances to the areas where large number of Chinese live in the state. The special advisor to Governor Dapo Abiodun on Communications, Remi Hazen, said this on Wednesday. Hazen said the state government adopted a strategy to ensure that the self-isolation of nationals were effective. Akeredolu signs Amotekun bill. Speaker sure of other governors. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu on Wednesday signed the State Security Network Agency and Amotekun Core bill into law. This came barely 24 hours after the House of Assembly passed the bill. Amotekun was initiated by the 6 Southwest governors to tackle the security challenges facing the region. 7,115 AIDS carriers received treatment in Osun Naka. The Osun State government has restated its commitment to an improved and affordable healthcare system for residents, as the National Agency for the Control of AIDS said about 7,115 carriers of the disease are currently receiving treatment in the state. The state deputy governor, Benedict Alabi, said this in Oshogbo on Wednesday while receiving a delegation from the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, led by Cyril Ojeonu, NACA's head of Government Resources Division. Senate suspends meeting on ex-Firo DG after Punch's report. The Senate Committee on Science and Technology on Tuesday called off its meeting on the ousted Director General of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi Chima Igwe. The paper linked that most of the participants had arrived in Abuja before they were told that the meeting would no longer hold. Dock workers have expressed worry over shortage of protective kits at the various support terminals to prevent team from the coronavirus when boarding vessels. The workers have also advised the Port Health Services of the Federal Ministry of Health to quarantine crew members of foreign vessels before calling on dock workers to board the vessel. Reps probe 4 billion naira demurrage on Nemasa's 50 billion naira floating dock. The House of Representatives on Wednesday resolved to investigate payment of $30,000 daily or 4 billion naira annually as demurrage on a floating dock acquired by the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency for 50 billion naira. The House urged the management of Nemasa to abide by all the terms and conditions relating to the acquisition of a floating dock, with a view to ensuring that the dock was put into operation forthwith with Okorenkoko Delta State as its base. SIM card. DSS told me Hanan ordered my arrest. Trader tells court. A trader, Anthony Okolie, has told the Federal High Court in Asaba that upon his arrest, he was informed by the Assistant Director of Operational Services at the Department of State Services, Herbert Ogboli, that the President's daughter, Hanan Buhari, ordered his detention. Okolie, who was arrested for using the telephone line that once belonged to Hanan, further stated that he was released from the custody of the DSS immediately after she asked the DSS to release him. NDLEA arrest arms dealers selling ammunition for 500 naira. Two suspects dealing in arms and ammunition, Dang Ruang and Dachalom Yohana, have been arrested by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency with 1,360 rounds of live ammunition. The suspects were arrested by operatives of the Bauchi State Command of the NDLEA on patrol along the Bauchi Jos Road. And U.S. testing equals drug, says Minister. The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Gbonaya Onu, has said the United States is conducting tests on a chemical compound isolated by ex-chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Maurice Iwu, as a possible cure for coronavirus. He dismissed reports suggesting that Iwu has found a cure for the disease, adding that his initial finding was that of a compound cure that could cure SARS. And from Echo News, we have this information. Isolo LCDA Championship, Kwam 1 backs Olashaju. And then we have coronavirus driver cries for help. LIRS targets small firms for tax net. And then residents commend Ario on Odalume Street. Fashion OPC removes Oshibote, appoints Afolabi as interim president. So let's take a look at some of the stories. The Lagos Internal Revenue Service, LIRS, is happy that about 48% of the 600 firms registered in Oshodi Solo local government area comprising Oshodi Solo and Ejigbo are paying taxes to the state government. But with its eyes ensuring 100% compliance this year, it is rolling out several measures to bring more individuals and firms into the tax net. All right. Excellent PSP mobilizes residents against Lassa fever. A private sector participant in Waste Collection Excellence Link has urged residents of Oshodi to combat Lassa fever by stopping the indiscriminate disposal of waste. And that is the news headline for today. For more details, you can always contact us on Twitter at Lagos Traffic 961, on Instagram Lagos Traffic, and on Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. You could also do us an email, and that will be info at Lagos at trafficradio961.ng, because you can watch us live on www.trafficradio961.ng. You could also follow us on YouTube, and the address is Traffic Radio 961. You could also interact with me on Twitter at Tumise O Kuku.